Welcome to the Programming Lions podcast. Today, we have Jake Crossman on the show. He is a health influencer with over 1 million TikTok followers. He is also a certified nutritionist, helping people take control of their health and achieving sustainable results through holistic nutrition, CBD, CBG therapies. He's helped thousands of individuals on their nutrition and health journey. So we're going to get into all that today. Let's go. Jake, welcome to the Programming Lions podcast. We are excited to have you on. We've been following you on TikTok. We love your takes on health, wellness, nutrition. And so we want to dig into all that with you today. So without further ado, let's get cranking. What do you say?
I'm excited, man. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
So first question, I heard that you managed a broadcast crew at the 2020 Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So what was that like, and what did you learn from that experience?
That was like the pinnacle of my career. I was in broadcast television when I was pretty young. I started when I was 18, working for an ESPN affiliate at my school, and then throughout that, kind of meeting other crewers and other teams. But the Super Bowl is the Super Bowl. People talk about today's our Super Bowl. Well, that was literally my Super Bowl, right? It's like, it actually is. I'm still incredibly grateful to Fox for letting me be part of that. I wasn't supposed to be. I was a very young, very new crew manager. It only happened because COVID hit and we didn't know what it was yet. I still think the Super Bowl was ground zero for COVID in the US because the top dog at Fox got very, very sick. And they're like, we just need you to go down and help. And I was like, I can be in Miami and help. I owe it to COVID and I owe it to Fox that I was even there. But yeah, I still think about it. It was a crazy experience. I was there for like 3 weeks, getting it ready and getting it set. And then, it's funny. My actual role was involved in all of the studio show. So we were live on air for 24 hours a day, 7 days prior to the Super Bowl. Then the moment it started, my job ended. I was like, I get to go home. So I wasn't even at Hard Rock. I was like off. I was at the studio site. And then I was like, all right, time to go to the hotel and watch the game. So it was very fun.
Max is a massive football fan.
Okay.
So I suppose he's curious if you ran into any big stars and you have any that you want to name?
I mean, since I did the studio show, I know all the Fox studio guys. So if you know who they are, that's who I'll say, but I'm not going to say anybody. It was really fun. And it was fun. The panel kind of leading up to the week, we had everybody from NASCAR stars to everybody was on the show for the week leading up. So it was a very, very cool week. It was, like I said, very surreal all the way through.
So what got you into this health craze from broadcasting?
It's a great question. It was really my own health that I think brought me to do all this. I was at Fox and at ESPN and everywhere I had worked. The environment is high pressure and high stress, and I think I thrive in high pressure and high stress. And it's fun to have energy. It's fun to do things that are intense and use a lot of your energy for it. I play like poker games still. So I like stressful situations. I like doing that kind of stuff, but it got to the point where I was so stressed and I was so anxious and I was drinking so much coffee. You guys don't even get into coffee if you can help it. It's just an insane stimulant that just keeps, you need it. And I needed to stop. So long story short is me and Fox amicably went our separate ways. And I just wanted to get into something else. And it started with CBD because I was fascinated with CBD and how much it actually could help people with certain mental conditions. It was just recently approved at the time by the FDA for seizure medication under the brand name Epidiolex. And I was blown away that this thing that was not legal at all prior to 2016, all of a sudden we're studying it, we're learning about it, and it's doing things like preventing seizures. So I really wanted to learn about it. And it was the kind of the arc of CBD comes to then all health. And then I want to learn about nutrition, and everything skyrocketed from there.
So the next question I was going to get into with you was CBD. You had launched this CBD business, and we want to talk to you a little bit more about the health benefits of CBD. Mm-hmm. But as you get into that, I'd like to understand a little bit more about the seizure impacts, because my wife, your mom, has epilepsy, and so seizures are part of our life that we've fortunately been able to really temper down in terms
Yeah.
of frequency and severity. But I'd love to hear more about the benefits you've seen in terms of seizure
Yeah.
remediation.
So if I say anything along the lines of my CBD can help seizures, the FDA will hate me. So I'm not going to
Okay,
say anything
understood.
like that. But what's crazy is, okay, CBD in general does not treat seizures, but
Yeah.
there is a medication approved by the FDA that is 100% CBD that treats seizures.
Okay.
So everyone in the room, read the subtext. Cool. Now, what's crazy is we've seen a lot of people pretty much experience the benefits instantly. Like it's like when a great example is I have a friend, Jesse, his daughter has epilepsy, and they tried my CBD oil, and it was instant that they said, hey, we don't need the medication anymore. This works the exact same way. Let's just switch over. And that's a published review on Trustpilot and my website. You can see that someone wrote that. So it
That's
definitely
amazing,
works.
because some of these medications can have some pretty severe side effects. And we know because we've been dealing with this for decades. And some of those side effects can be pretty extreme. So if somebody can get off of a medication and do this to, remediate their symptoms. Wow.
Totally. And obviously, I don't recommend anyone just switch off medication and just do, talk to your doctor, talk to your specialist, all the things. Medicine is just us extracting certain compounds from plants and things that work and isolating them and using them, right? So that's what CBD is. We're isolating CBD from the plant and we're using it. It's a plant-based medicine, And at the end of the day, it's so weird because there's so many terms we can't use and can use, and CBD is not legally a supplement, right? It's not an FDA supplement. Well, so I say, okay, FDA, I can't say that. I'll call it what it is. It's an herbal medicine, and it really has medicinal properties. If you are approving it for epilepsy, and we're having tons of research that shows it's great for anxiety, great for sleep, great for mental conditions, it's an herbal medicine. It does something medicinal. So I think that's important to remember that all medicine comes from plants in some way, or plants or some organic compound, right?
Okay, very interesting. And so tell us a little bit about your business and how it works and what services you provide.
Yeah, so like I said, we started as a CBD business. That was the day one business. And the only products that we've expanded have been products that I've just heard from people that they want, or things that combine well with CBD. And one of the most important breakthroughs that we were the first company to release a CBG oil. So CBG is a different cannabinoid.
Okay.
At the time, when we first started, CBD was extraordinarily expensive to buy because no one was doing it, right? It was just legalized in 2016. So 2016 is the first day it's ever allowed to grow and sell. So we were doing it pretty early, and it was so expensive to buy. And prices have come way down, obviously. CBG was a kind of a new discovery at the time, where it was same thing. It's a cannabinoid found in hemp, and hemp has over 113 different cannabinoids. This isn't taught in school, so hopefully this helps kids. There's 113 cannabinoids in hemp and cannabis. One of them is THC, the one that causes the psychoactive high, the one that's federally illegal. Cool. Hemp has very, very little THC to no THC, and we can grow and use hemp and isolate cannabinoids that are not THC, which have other benefits like CBG. And one of the things that people talked about CBD was like, it's the cure-all. It's good for inflammation. It's good for pain. It's good for this and that. And it's really not. It's good for certain things. Again, seizures, we know that. It's good for mental anxiety, stress, sleep. But it really isn't that incredible for pain, for inflammation, as people said it was. Well, all of a sudden, we found this CBG cannabinoid, and the research is showing that it's insanely powerful for inflammation, insanely powerful for, inflammation throughout the body, the brain, your gut, arthritis, like anywhere there's inflammation, CBG is helping. So now we really switched our marketing to be like, look, we're not going to sell CBD as the cure-all. It's not. It's good for sleep. It's good for anxiety. CBG is the new player in town that's way better at inflammation, way better at pain. And super long answer short, it's just now we are trying to make sure those two things are recognized, and we support it with great products like magnesium, like ashwagandha, like turmeric. But our focus is the cannabinoids. It's how great CBD is, how great CBG is, especially when they're done organically and they're done the right way,
Okay, great. And if people want to buy your products, they go where?
It's just usamedical.com.
We'll drop that in the description and any relevant coupons so that people can check it out.
Perfect, yeah.
And I have not tried CBD or CBG myself, but I'm considering it. I'm getting old, so I have aches, pains, and different things. But I've always sort of had a reluctance because of what you said in terms of its relation to THC.
Absolutely.
And I'm like, I don't want to be a pothead and use
Absolutely.
CBD on my body. But
Right.
maybe I can get over that, huh?
Well, I mean, let me try to convince you here, because it's the same thing as any other medication, right? We are isolating the CBD, we're isolating the CBG. We're not using the plant as a whole. We're not using anything that we don't want to use. And it's the same thing as any other medication. They're isolating what is to be used and keeping out what is not to be used. And
Yeah.
I think what's important is the reason that we don't have research on this stuff, even though it's been around since the dawn of time, is that it has been federally illegal for the last 60, 70, 80 years, right? So it's when something, like cocaine is, they list it as having medical use.
Yeah.
I don't know what that medical use is. I'd love to learn it, but
Right.
they list it. So you can study cocaine. You can use it on lab rats. You can use it, in studies. Obviously you can't
Cocaine
take
shark.
it. Don't take it.
Cocaine bear.
Cocaine bear, cocaine shark, movies apparently. Yeah.
It's out there. It has a medical use, but THC or cannabis as a whole for 60 years had no medical use. That's crazy, right? To do that, that's just remnants of a prohibition era that's a whole different conversation. But now we get to study it. Now we get to learn. We still don't get to study THC, and there's tons of people who claim it helps them with appetite or blah, blah, blah. We don't know. We don't have research, but we do have research now on CBD and CBG, and the research is extraordinarily positive and quite literally has no researched negative effects. So there's nothing right now that people are like, this is going to be a problem if you keep using CBD.
Yeah.
It's all very positive.
Particularly if it's plant-based and not modified, I suppose.
Of course.
Would make some sense, right?
And that's a great thing to say, because we 100% do plant-based from hemp, but there are tons of other companies who they've found ways to do it. And one incredible scientific way, you can take an orange peel, you can ferment it, and then hit it with some chemicals, and you can convert it into what's called CBDV. I might be wrong but it's a different type of CBD. Still CBD, but totally chemical based, totally made in the lab. So
So there's like synthetics basically that you got to be careful of. Yeah. That makes sense. And this brings up another question I want to ask. We know you have a lot of health takes around a broad spectrum of topics, and we want to get into a lot of those because I think they'll benefit not only us, but our audience. But before we do that, a related topic to, let's say, CBD is psychedelics have not been really researched. And I hear on different podcasts of people doing these like ayahuasca journeys and the benefits of psychedelics. How much experience have you had or heard about some of that? And is there potentially an avenue to bring some of those in more mainstream where they might help people?
Absolutely. I've done a lot of research on them. They're definitely adjacent to the cannabis world, so I know a bit about them. I can't say I've had a ton of personal experience with them, but from what I know is there is it's medicine across the board. There has to be a medicinal use for all these different things, right? It's the same thing that we're isolating the right things and we're getting rid of the poisons. There's so much of that, right? And I know that psilocybin, right, the mushroom extract, it is a poison, right? It is a poison. Your body's going to treat it as a poison. There's also a poison that's going to do this weird thing that disconnects your DNS, your default mode network, whatever that acronym is, your ego from your brain. It's a real chemical thing that happens. It disconnects the amygdala from your prefrontal cortex, and it's a weird thing that happens, right? And that allows for incredible therapeutic breakthroughs in certain scenarios, and especially under the guide of an expert or someone who is a therapist with these things. Ketamine therapy has become a absolutely massive industry here in Los Angeles. Anybody can just pay the whatever it is, $500 and go see a ketamine therapist. And people claim that there's insane, amazing breakthroughs they're getting. Especially, I've even saw a study about MDMA therapy and how they saw people skip basically 10 years of therapy, skip through 10 years of trying to get out what the actual problem is. Wow. Take this drug, and then we say what the problem is, and then it's like, that's the problem. Let's solve it. So of course there has to be use for these things. It's just as long as they're illegal, we can't prove what that use is. So we have
maybe this shaman, they were onto something for the last few thousand years, huh?
Well, I think we're here for a reason. Humanity didn't survive for however long it did. I think probably 10, 20, 30,000 years. Some people claim millions. That's if we survived millions of years and now we need to change everything right now, I think we're doing the wrong thing. Right. Clearly these things have existed and clearly these things have worked. it's a whole different
Yeah.
take, I guess. But
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
just,
No, I
it's
don't think
crazy.
that's a crazy take at all. All right, all right. Well, let's get into some of our other kind of topics that we wanted to
Yeah.
pick your brain on in terms of health, nutrition, etc.
So, what supplements should people use every day? And anything specific for us, younger people?
It's a great question. I would say I'm really big on nutrition first and foremost. And I am a certified nutritionist. And part of that is like recognizing what are we supposed to be eating? And then supplements are to supplement where our food is lacking. But the goal is to get as much nutrition from your food as possible. One of the things that I've learned is that protein is kind of just the almighty food, right? At the end of the day, protein has the most vitamins, the most minerals, and it's the literal building block of your body. You can survive 100% without carbohydrates, right? So you do need fat, you do need protein, but carbs, the things that we all love the most, you don't need. There's the least amount of vitamins, there's the least amount of nutrients, and you can get it through other means. So with that said, the supplements that I always recommend people take first and foremost are magnesium, because it's one of the hardest things to get in our diet unless you're eating a ton of pumpkin seeds every day, unless you're going in the ocean every single day, or unless there's a couple very small like leafy greens that you eat a ton of. But
Yeah.
magnesium is huge. And then from there, I like to just ask questions and ask people what they've tried, what they are feeling, what they want to be feeling. At this point, so I do health coaching on a regular basis. And when I say health coaching, it's really more of just me listening to what you say you want and then asking you why aren't we there? And it's just me figuring out where are you lacking, and then I'm going to try to offer some supplements and some advice to fill in those gaps. So I hate just offering blanket supplement advice other than magnesium, because it's such a easy one that we're all lacking in. Obviously, we're not getting CBD and CBG in our diets either. So I think those are very important when it comes to like if you are feeling some type of pain, whether it's mental pain, anxiety, stress, can't sleep, literal pain, that's where we start using a medicine. But if you feel good, keep feeling good. You don't have to take supplements. We don't have to be on all these different things. It's just to supplement where we're lacking.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
I like that.
I'm curious because typically, or it's not normal, but sometimes we get headaches and we get sick.
Yeah.
And then, like normally, we take a pill or something, right?
Totally.
Do you think that it's better to take a pill or like drink something to get better, or is it better to just let it be and let it do whatever it wants?
That's a good question. I don't think it's better to let it be or take a pill. I think we need to take action in some capacity, right? If there's something wrong, we do need to fix it in some way. And your body is a great, like your body speaks to you more than anyone else, right? It's constantly signaling you in very minute ways, in small ways. And a headache is a great example of a signal. A headache is not normal. You should not have pain in your head, right? If you have a headache, something is wrong. The number one most common reason of a headache, and I mean like it's probably 90+% headache reason, is dehydration. It's just dehydration. If you have a headache, drink some water, especially like electrolyte rich water. So spring water, mineral water, something that's going to have magnesium and potassium and calcium and just the things that your body needs. So hydrate your body if you have a headache. But for anything, like I said, look into what are you feeling? Okay, if your head hurts, that's a great, okay, I should probably drink some water. If something else hurts or something else doesn't feel right, what did you do prior to that? How did we get here? Have you done something different, or did you eat a ton of spicy Thai food? Now my stomach hurts. Probably the spicy Thai food. Don't eat it anymore. I don't know, right? It's kind of like that. So definitely don't think taking a pill is the right move. Medicine works for a reason. We have tons of pills that do work, and it's hard for me to tell someone who's in literal pain to not take a pill. Like if my dad is a great example. If his stomach hurts, he's taking an antacid. Doesn't matter. Like he's going to take it. And I'm not going to talk him off that. I'm like, Dad, bananas have antacid. Dad, you can take a shot of vinegar. And he's like, I'm taking a Tums. It's like, I get it.
Okay.
I'm not going to, you're in literal pain. You want to get out of it, and it works. So I'm not going to tell someone not to do it, but it's always better to find what was the root cause of this thing and how can I solve it naturally.
Yeah. I'd say generally we try to put off taking medicine or pills until it gets to a point where, yeah, we feel like we really need to. The pain is extensive enough or whatever. So yeah, that's good advice. Think about the root cause. Drink
Good.
water, boys, or
Drink
drink less
water.
alcohol, Dad. Things
Yeah.
like that, right?
It's all about balance. So I think the worst thing that can happen is someone hears a podcast like this and they go buy a gallon jug and they fill it up, and the first day they drink the whole gallon and they're just peeing all day and they feel miserable and they hate drinking it and they just don't do it ever again, right? That's the worst response to this. Everything has to happen in baby steps, everything. So I'm glad you guys took a drink of the water there. Just integrate these small things, integrate that sip of water. When you see the water, have a sip. If you're thirsty, have a sip. It's that simple.
Okay, nice. So our next question is, what do you think will be the largest health risk for me and Max, right? Us kids when we grow up.
Whew, that's a great question. I think there are some things that you're at risk for right now and some things that we're going to see change over the next few years as far as how we understand health more. To start with, I grew up at a time where we really didn't understand health. And the mainstream health advice is use margarine, not butter. Butter is so bad for you. Use margarine. I to the point that I grew up, I only ate margarine growing up. Yeah. And when I tasted butter, it was this is gross. Butter's gross, right? Because that's it. If you guys don't already know this, margarine is just whipped oil. It's just it's a pressed, disgusting oil that's been whipped. And that's all it is, right? And it's hydrogenated. And that's the worst possible part of I'm not necessarily totally anti-seed oil. It's the hydrogenation process that whips it and makes it really bad. So anyways, I grew up in this era of the health, the actual discussed health being really false. The food pyramid, completely false. It was never created by a dietitian it was completely made up, right? So I think the biggest health risk for you guys right now is just not knowing things. The more you can learn, the more you can read, and the more you actually care about your health, that's where you become an assassin in health. Knowledge is actually an insane weapon.
Well, talking to people like you and doing some critical thinking exercises, which we tend to do, that's a good combo. I think that's great advice, actually.
Yeah.
Good.
Actually, I was thinking you were going to say something like fast food or something. We should go into our next question.
I can speak to that for sure. Look, fast food used to be actually really good. If you look at the old McDonald's menu, everything was fried in beef tallow. Everything. All their French fries, and they were good potatoes, good russet potatoes. The beef was from America. I'm talking about the 70s and 80s, but this stuff didn't start as bad. Nothing starts as bad, right? At least hope. Most things that succeed in life started with noble intentions, recognizing when things start to shift and when things start to really cause more harm than they ever had before. I grew up in the wrong health era. I grew up eating McDonald's. I think a McDonald's hamburger tastes amazing. I don't eat it anymore. I do think fast food is bad. I do think the quality, even in the last 5 years, especially since COVID, I think the quality of fast food dropped off so much that it's not even recognizable to the food that I ate 10 years ago, especially as a kid.
Is it mainly just that it's now so ultra processed and
ultra processed, but there's a sinisterness to how they're changing, how they're there's this thing called the 40-day chicken egg, and everyone that sells chicken is using these eggs. You may have already heard of it, but it's an egg that hatches and grows to full maturity in 40 days, which is, think about that. A baby, an egg, hatch, full chicken, ready to go in 40 days.
Yeah.
The problem is if you don't harvest it in 40 days, by the 45th day, it starts to have organ failure. All its organs fail, and it will die on the 46th day. So we're talking about
genetically modified chicken eggs, basically.
Incredibly modified. We're growing life at exponential rates. And we're seeing, and there's early research to show that this chicken that has been quickly grown has colon cancer repercussions. We're seeing cases of colon cancer come out of this. And it's what scares me about that is this is becoming the norm to use this egg. Every McChicken is definitely coming from this egg. So that's where it becomes more sinister than just they're using vegetable oil, not beef tallow. It's they're using massively genetically modified animals before we even get to the heavily processing part. So that's the problem.
I once thought about, I heard a similar scenario with beef, for example. When they raise cattle, the time from birth to slaughter was like, let's just say 18 months.
Mhm.
And then over time, they've cut it down by what they feed them and what they genetically modify the animals with or inject them with down to 9 months. And so they've essentially doubled their productivity by cutting the gestation period from
Right.
birth to slaughter in half. That, when you think about like the production and operational benefits to what they're doing,
Yeah.
I get why they're doing it, but whoa, like
That's evil.
it's crazy.
It's hard not to call it evil, especially in the world where we have court cases that back the fact that companies are beholden to their investors, not their consumers, right? That
Sure.
is 100% backed by court, that if you're a company, you're beholden to your investors, not your consumers. So at what point do we have to be like, why are we buying from companies that have massive investor interest, right? Because the only thing that they care about is the investors. They do not care what happens to you in the slightest.
Tinfoil hat on, I'd say they provide a lot of money into the Food and Drug Administration and through lobbyists and donations and research. And so the cycle is interesting because, as you said, like if people were aware and there wasn't like propagandized to use the food pyramid the way it is or whatever, then people would maybe be more aware and they would restrain themselves from buying certain things, and then that would allow the free market to work. However, it doesn't feel super free market because there's this collusion going on between agencies, how they're funded. That's a whole thing.
Yeah, there's a collusion of agencies, how they're funded, the food that makes people sick and the drugs that heal them. And on top of that, the actual education of it is all propagandized in some type of way where we're teaching people to enter into the incorrect system.
We may circle back on this a little bit later because that's definitely a concern I have, is just that the systems of power are actually incentivized to keep people and our kids, my two beautiful kids here, sick. Not so sick they die, just so sick that they
just sick enough.
Are sick and a highly profitable return on investment.
No, not that actually. They want you to be just sick enough.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
Just sick enough so that we are like, one last McDonald's.
You have to go to the hospital
one more
exactly.
McChicken.
Yeah.
Well,
by the way, have you seen hospital food? Like, talk about the most hilarious example of this.
What a hypocrisy.
Like, yeah. Hospital food is some of the worst food possible. It's like you're killing them in the hospital. We can move on.
Wait, what?
Hospital food's like eating fast food, but not as good.
Right. Yeah. It's worse.
Yeah. Wait, so it's like basically, how do I say, it's like processed?
It's very processed.
Yes.
Yeah. Extraordinarily processed food.
I hate like super processed food.
You and me
You've
both.
probably seen, or maybe you've on your very popular TikTok channel, you've probably even done a reaction. I didn't see this, but where they have the McDonald's burger and then like a homemade burger, and then they show how the mold and ants and bugs get to it.
Yeah.
And the McDonald's burger like lasts forever.
Oh, there's one. I think there's one in Iceland today that's like 15 years old. It still looks great. It's like, that's crazy. You know,
why would you want to put something like that in your body? Or like when ants and worms and animals, will go towards one and not the other to eat it. It tells you like they must know something that we don't know.
Totally, 100%.
So crazy.
You look pretty buff. Like not as buff as my dad, of course. But, he's the biggest man in the whole world.
Your dad could beat me up.
Anyway,
I'm not. Yeah, no question.
Yeah. But anyway, so what's your workout routine? Like, what do you like to do?
I appreciate the compliment. I used to be in college an actual bodybuilder. That's all I wanted to do before I got into health. And it's funny because look back at that time, I did all the things wrong. I ate wrong. I did things wrong, but the goal was to be huge, nothing else. And I'm very lucky that I had a big ski accident and I basically shattered my wrist and I couldn't lift for like a year. I lost like a lot of my build, and it was great because in that year I had to get healthy in other ways. Here's some advice to you kids. If you ever just want to like work out harder, that's going to get you healthier. Like your body it's amazing how much your body gets healthier the more you work out. This thing that we don't talk about, they're called T cells, and they only get released from your body when you are working out. Like when you are under physical stress, creating physical damage to your muscles, that's when T cells get released. And these T cells fight everything. Their only job is to fight things, fight cancer, fight inflammation, fight disease. You know, if you're sick, if you're under the weather, work out. It's not going to, like, people think like I need to sleep all day. No, get up and work out. Go for a walk. Get the T cells going and get your body healing. So working out solves a lot of problems. If you have like I did, have an absolutely atrocious diet. Again, I grew up in the wrong health era with bad advice. I was drinking like soy milk protein shakes. The soy milk had more protein per whatever. And I was like, oh, this makes sense. I was doing it based on bad math. And so I had to learn how to get healthy. I fell in love with yoga during the process of healing my wrist because it's so hard to do. Like, I don't mean like just like light stretching, like real power yoga, really like holding positions in your body. That process taught me about my muscles, and you start to feel your muscles in very, very interesting ways. Like Terry Crews can do the pec thing where his pecs like flex or whatever. Yeah, you got it. Part of that is like learning how to do that, and all of a sudden you can do it, and like then that's everything. So my routine now is very, very much like 2 days a week I just do general strength workout. So one day will be just almost 100% upper body, push pull. I just do it all one day. I don't go crazy. One day will be lower body, and then 2-3 days a week just some gentle yoga at home. I have a pull-up bar at home, and then once a week I'll do like a real yoga, like half an hour to an hour. But at this point, and I think this is good advice, I heard this when I was a kid. I actually heard this advice when I was way younger, and it was, if you build a frame once, you'll have it forever. So whatever frame you build on your body, right? However big you get, that's kind of where you're going to stay as long as you stay healthy, unless you radically change your diet, unless you radically change. So I'm lucky that I worked really hard when I was like 17, 18, 19 to build a strong body, because I still get to kind of reap those benefits, even though I'm not super active in the gym anymore.
Well, when you were trying to be a bodybuilder, how much could you deadlift?
My deadlift, I never got over 405, but I definitely could rep out 405. And then my bench press, I never tried more than 315, but I could rep out 315.
That's a lot.
It was good. I mean, I'm way smaller than I was. I probably have pictures somewhere, but we can move on.
4 times the size of me.
I've never heard of someone that was actually lucky that they broke their wrist.
Well, I didn't feel lucky at all. I mean, I was very upset. I've done social media for a long time. Before I did what I do now, I played a character on social media called Papa Gaines, and I would do videos as Papa Gaines. And I would like teach people how to like lift, but it was like bad advice. It was like jokes. It was like a comedy channel. And there's still some like remnants of Papa Gaines out there. And I thought like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to like get really huge. I'm going to be a bodybuilder. I'm going to like be a bodybuilder influencer, kind of do that. And the wrist break was like, oh, I just lost my goal in life. The thing I wanted to do, I lost it. But like I said, it was the best thing that could have happened, because I actually started working in TV right after that, because I was like, I can't lift, get a job, And
it reminds me of, we had a guest on recently that's a Jocko Fuel athlete, and they referenced Jocko Good, and he says good. So sometimes you have things that happen in your life that are very difficult, but if you look at it like good, and then you shift your mindset to like, what can I take out of this? Which is exactly what you described, is like, this turned out to be a great thing for me, because it moved you in a different direction, and you've become better, stronger, healthier in different ways. And so I think it's a great example of sometimes adversity can shift you in the right direction. So
absolutely. I actually heard a podcast a little while ago from this guy, Alex Hermosa. He's an incredible business.
Yeah, we're familiar. Yeah.
Guru. Love him. He was talking about how one of his friends got cancer. And the first thing he said was, man, I'm so lucky to have this experience. Like most people don't ever get to have this experience. And like, that's crazy to have that perspective. But how cool is that to be like, no matter what, I'm so lucky to have this experience. We only do this life thing once. No one else gets to experience what I experienced. Like, that's a great way to be. And it's hard.
That's a mindset there. Yeah,
it's
that's
almost
incredible.
Impossible, but it's very cool if you can master that.
I saw your videos where you're in the grocery store.
Oh yeah.
And I can see that you're in it a lot. And I'm just wondering, what is your grocery shopping like?
It's so boring. I go to the meat aisle, anything that's like grass-fed, USDA organic, I'll grab the ribeyes, I'll grab a fillet, I'll grab, ground beef. Always have eggs in the house. I love eggs.
Me too.
I go to Sprouts because they have raw milk and raw kefir, which is just totally unprocessed milk and fermented milk. So tons of probiotics. I drink that almost every day. I don't buy anything fun. Sorry, I wish I had a better answer. I don't really even buy fruit or anything. Because if I'm gonna eat something fun, like I said, I love food, so I will go out somewhere with friends and go somewhere that we really like or somewhere that's good. Especially being in Los Angeles, we have some great food.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good.
We gotta try the raw milk thing, maybe.
Have you ever tried it?
Raw milk?
Do you like milk?
Well, I do, but the boys, you don't really drink milk.
Not really.
No.
What about it do you not like? I'm very curious. I'm just yeah.
I don't know. I haven't really had it since I was like a baby.
Okay.
I
would say raw milk is the best version of milk.
The thing
just
is,
because
I
it
just
tastes so
don't-
rich.
Yeah, I just
What's
don't
the
like the
difference
taste.
What's the difference between raw and like normal?
So normal milk has been pasteurized. It's a heating process to kill all bacteria. And that sounds all well and good until you think about where it came from and why we're doing it. It came from a company long time ago that wanted to extend the shelf life of milk, right? They wanted it to last longer so they could ship it overseas, ship it places, and sell more of it. What pasteurization does, it kills all bacteria. That's all well and good until you realize there's no bad bacteria in milk. Could there develop some type of bad bacteria? Like all food, yes, all food can. If you leave a steak on the counter for a day, it's going to have some bad bacteria on it. That's just how bacteria works. There's wild bacteria everywhere. But raw milk is basically from the cow, sealed, sent to the store. So there's no processing, and all of the original probiotics, the bacteria, are in that milk. And what's interesting is if you drink raw milk, it doesn't matter if you have a lactose intolerance. The lactase enzyme is in there. It's the point is that it's digestible by anybody, but when you pasteurize it, you kill that enzyme, and now you cannot. If your body does not have the lactase enzyme, you can't digest milk. So you become lactose intolerant. Kefir has the most amount of lactase. So if anyone is lactose intolerant, you can very easily drink raw kefir, and you will never have any kind of lactose intolerance problems.
Interesting. Yeah, because you hear a lot more people having lactose intolerance, and that's interesting. Yeah. We generally, I'd say the milk that you guys will drink are in the shakes that I make periodically, and so that
those are good.
Yeah, those are
like
pretty
chocolate,
good.
Peanut butter, delicious.
Yeah,
sounds good.
The
other cool thing about raw milk is just the amount of fat it has in it. Fat is necessary for all of our hormones, as well as dietary cholesterol is necessary for our hormones. No one talks about the fact that like egg yolks are amazing for us, and no amount of dietary cholesterol will affect LDL cholesterol, the bad cholesterol. People think you eat more eggs, you're going to get bad cholesterol.
Yeah.
No science to back that up whatsoever. Not how it works. So we need cholesterol, we need fat. And I think raw milk is a great way to get a lot of vitamins, get a lot of bacteria, good bacteria, get a lot of the stuff we need in just kind of one drink. It's just a very, very easy, like an egg too. An egg is a very compact, incredible source.
Eggs and milk are maybe good examples of what I would think of is it natural fats. So natural fats are really healthy, but then unnatural fats, like what you get out of a potato chip,
right?
We're
looking at
is the stuff you don't want, even though it's delicious and they're super addictive.
Right. The science of fat is like your body wants a certain chain. It's looking for and we are organic material, so we're looking for the same thing. Eggs have the same things that we need. Beef has the same things that we need. Fish has, these are organic materials. Plants in a lot of combinations will have these things. We see like black beans and rice. It's a great combination. You're going to get all those necessary chains and building blocks and amino acids. But you get into the highly processed stuff. Now we're chemically engineering special fatty acid chains, unsaturated fatty acids, polyunsaturated fatty acids, and some are good, some are bad. If we really if you learn and you do the research, there is definitely some good uses of, I would say, less than natural fats. They can be used in certain ways, but knowing the science helps you make those decisions and helps you understand, yes, the natural fats, the things that come from Earth, that's going to be the best.
Yeah.
So
sounds good.
I can kind of tell that you're not the fan of like ultra processed foods.
It's a good read.
Yeah.
It's
It's a good point, Max.
Again, we live I did a reaction yesterday on crab sticks, and crab sticks have no crab in them, right? They're called crab sticks, but there's no crab in them. Now, here's the deal. Again, I've grown up eating them, and I grew up liking how they taste, and they're in a lot of sushi rolls, not where I go anymore, but cheaper sushi will use
Yeah.
them. What is it? Well, it is just pollock. It's a different fish that tastes kind of like crab, but then they add tons of red dye and seasoning and blend it up and whatever.
Yeah.
So is it actually bad and unhealthy? Red dye I don't love, but other than that, I can't point to blended pollock being a bad thing. It's like if you took a sea bass and blended it up and drank it, like, is that a bad thing? Probably not. It's like, it's still the same thing. It's just super gross and weird in our mind, right? It's like super gross, but it's probably not bad. It's just ultra processed. So it's easy to make the choice. I think the hardest question is, what is healthy? How do I eat healthy? An easier question is, what is processed? How do I eat not processed? And it really simplifies health when you're like, I just don't want processed foods,
Yep. Yeah. Makes sense.
So I just want to ask, are you familiar with the MAHA movement by RFK?
The MAHA movement. I'm not familiar with this.
Make America Healthy Again.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. For sure. RFK rules. He has such good, sorry, go ahead. I'll ask you the question.
I think that is the question. Like, basically, are you familiar with the movement now that he's sort of come out of the race and he's pushing this Make America Healthy Again movement?
Yeah.
And he's working closely with someone we know named Callie Means as well. And a lot of the things you talk about are very similar to what they're talking about in terms of the chronic disease that's happening in America, its relationship to ultra-processed food, some of the things and chemicals in our foods or other things that we put in our bodies or on our bodies. And so I'm curious, how if you've had any ties with that group, because you seem like you talk about a lot of the same things.
Yeah, no ties with the group. I came to a lot of my own conclusions just kind of on my own, and it worked out well that, TikTok was Musically, and I was on Musically. I knew the app, and then it transitioned, and it opened up a world of just kind of saying things that you think are true and talking about things. The only reason that I got as big as I did is because I was one of the first people doing it. I know I was the person that started the magnesium movement. No one was talking about magnesium until I made my video that got 37 million views. That started the movement of people taking magnesium. That a lot of what I talked about started certain health trends in the world. And I don't have a million followers because anything I'm saying is unique, or anything I'm saying isn't, something that I have created or developed. I'm just saying what I think is true about health based on what I've read and what I know. And I think RFK is someone that has a ton of experience in that vein. I'm 26. I never really cared about politics or things like this my whole life. And all of a sudden, I'm hearing someone like him speak, and he's saying a lot of the things that I 100% agree with. So I think there's no one better to be in that position right now than RFK.
Yeah. And hopefully what he's doing is a non-partisan issue, which is making America healthy. That's not really a partisan thing, although I suppose some people will make it such. But we had a chance to actually see him and Callie Means here in town in Scottsdale recently, and it was incredible. Yeah. I think they're doing some good work, and so we're excited to see that and the types of work that you do. I mean, you got to be incredibly proud if you could bring magnesium into the lives of millions of people through your reach. Just imagine how many people are feeling better.
It was an accident. And, I just talked about things that I believed in. And prior to that video, I had videos that had done very well. Some of the CBD videos were doing already over 1 million views. So I knew I had an audience that was watching me. That video was just me being like, look, I'm taking magnesium glycinate specifically, and I had only heard of it. I have to give credit where credit's due. There's a person on Twitter who goes by the handle Grimhood, but his name was Magnesium Poppy back in the day, and he just all he talked about was how good magnesium was. So I was like, well, this guy has to know something about something. So I started taking it, and his whole thing was like, only use magnesium glycinate, not the other forms. I tried it, and I just fell in love with it. So I just made a video being like, yo, if you want to sleep better, take magnesium glycinate. And it blew up. So there was no intent. And actually, I wasn't even selling it at the time, which is my biggest miss. I think about it. I go to bed at night thinking about this. But I wasn't even selling magnesium. So we did 36 million views, and I wasn't even selling. I wasn't trying to sell anybody on anything. I was like, look, this is what you need for your health.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, that's probably why a lot of people believed it too.
100%.
Yeah,
100%. Yeah.
that's great.
Wow. 36 million views.
That's a lot of views.
It's too many. Yeah, it's crazy.
It's too many.
It's too many. Do you get any hate?
No, never ever once have I ever
You've
gotten.
never gotten hate.
It's pretty
Okay,
much
yeah.
the
That's
problem is
impossible.
that the problem is that the best performing videos have to have hate. They have to have people fighting in the comments. The only video that will perform well is one that has videos or people fighting in the comments. It's unfortunate, that's the truth, but after doing this for a few years, that is the truth. And I know I don't do it myself. I've always thought about it. I know plenty of creators who have fake accounts that they'll start a fight. They'll on one account they'll be like, "This video is so stupid. How could anyone watch this?" Then another comment, "This video is awesome. I love it." And then people read them and they start to comment, right? So it's all about comments, and it's unfortunate that videos have to have a bit of an edge to them.
Yeah.
Content's weird right now.
Yeah, it really is. We've learned this directly in our own way, especially on Instagram, where we've had some things that have gotten controversial and we get some fighting
And then they blow up,
in
right?
the comments. And yeah, in fact, I've been accused of having accounts that come in and leave the comments, but that's not true. I don't have that kind of time on my hands.
Right, that's how I feel. Like, really, you think I'm sitting? I have other things to do, man.
I'm not that conniving, but I know people do that. We just don't. And but for sure, the things that have gotten the most reach for us are the same. They're a little bit or enough controversial where they get people really chatting, and so we get hate and support all together, and it becomes a little bit of a brawl. Yeah.
And I'm still trying to find, because there's an important line to walk where it's like, if you're too controversial, doesn't work. If you're not enough, doesn't work. You really got to walk a line on. And I don't have a formula still. I don't think. And if I live in LA, I know a lot of people that do TikTok. Nobody has a formula. Like nobody.
Yeah. And it's also interesting that no matter what you post, like somebody will hate it. And somebody will love it. It's weird. It's really weird.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
We
But
get
people
a
also
lot
get
of
a lot of
hate.
gratification from being that guy online, from being the hater, from being, especially because, and what I had to realize is the only thing that they want is for me to respond. That's all they really want. Right. And what's weird is they could get that response if they were nice, but the human brain, we kind of always think people are out to get us. It's a weird problem that a lot of humans seem to struggle with, is that we don't trust people. So if we can be the one to be mean, if we can be the one to initiate the violence or the bad thing, at least we're in control of that situation,
right?
In some capacity. And it's wrong. It's an incorrect thought process, but it is how people think.
Yeah. That's totally true. And in fact, I'll have people like even follow up on stuff like, "Why haven't you responded to me?"
Yeah, it's like, because you're mean.
Yeah, like why would I
I'm not
respond to some degenerate?
Yeah, exactly.
We get a lot of hate. I mean,
I'm sorry to hear that. But the more people like you, the more people are going to hate you. It's part of it, and it's good to see it because it means you're growing.
Yeah.
a person called Will.
I don't know if I can say this on YouTube.
Yeah.
We can edit it out.
Well, there's a lot of things we've gotten that you can't say.
And it's.
But we got a lot of love and support.
One real supporter makes up for thousands of people that hate you, right? Because it's like, if someone actually supports you and what you're doing and what you are trying to achieve, that's worth more than anything.
Agreed. We don't let it get to us. Yep. I like that. Now I noticed that guitar in the background, and Max is a bit of a guitar player. So can you?
Yeah, dude, shred it. Show me something. What do you got? No.
Grab it.
That would be sick.
Well, that's okay.
I do want to see it.
You want to see it?
I do want to see it.
Yeah. Max does mostly he does exclusively acoustic guitar. So he's still kind of early in his journey. But what kind of music do you like to play?
I grew up just adoring music. You get the whole couch to yourself now. That's the vibe.
Great.
Yeah.
This is
amazing.
great.
Yeah. My dad was a sound engineer for a band called Clockwise. He toured with them around the United States.
Okay.
And when I was born, let's see it. He got it.
I
Okay,
gotta
there
put
it
on
is.
back
That's
on
sick.
the headset.
I love it.
Here. All right.
That's
so this
super
is-
cool.
Yeah, so this is the guitar that I have. The thing is, it's kind of like electric. It's
Oh yeah,
electric.
that's sick. It has a
So yeah, you can
Preamp.
have your own tuner and all that.
very
so
cool.
Then, yeah, and this is the one that I mostly play on my what songs I play and all that. So.
Yes.
Awesome.
Love it. That was nice. I appreciate that. That's really cool to see.
Yeah.
I adore music. Don't ever lose your love for music because it's so much fun when you can love it. Whenever you can just strum on a guitar, it's like, it's all your worries can go away, you know? There it is.
There you go. There
Good
you go.
punctuation. Appreciate that.
All right. Well, Jake, we've got a session in every podcast called
Rapid fire.
Oh, yeah, that's it.
I like the
It's
sound
called
of that.
Rapid Fire, and it's a few silly, quick questions.
Okay.
3,
2.
2, 1, go.
Excluding us, who's your idol?
Alex Ramosi right now.
Okay, what's your favorite junk food?
Ice cream.
Coolest invention in your lifetime?
Brownie batter ice cream specifically. Coolest invention in my lifetime, the VR headset. It's crazy. I was blown away playing VR.
Okay.
If you had a superpower, what would it be?
I want to fly. I don't know. It just seems like the coolest one.
Mm-hmm.
Will you rather fight a 1,000-pound duck or 1,001-pound ducks?
1,001 pound ducks. No way I beat a 1,000-pound duck. Continue.
Would
have a
you
chance
rather
at that.
die to a great white shark or flaming hot volcano?
Volcano. It's way faster.
Would you rather be pure vegetarian or pure carnivore for the rest of your life?
Pure carnivore.
I think this is our final one. Have you ever been stuck in a bathroom stall without toilet paper? I
Yeah.
have.
Yeah. Do I need to explain that one? Can I just say yes?
Yes.
That's good enough. Yes.
It
okay.
happened at school like maybe a
Oh,
month
that's
ago.
tragic. School is. I've never had it happen at school. That's brutal.
Ooh.
I've loved
I had to I had to wait until everyone was gone,
Yeah.
which took like an extra 10 minutes,
Yeah.
and I had to waddle to the next stall.
Mhm.
Unbelievable.
It's a sad waddle. That's. Oh.
Yeah.
You only make that mistake once or twice, Max,
Start
and then
checking.
you'll
Yeah.
be conditioned to look for it.
That's a great question. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that wraps
Concludes
up
Rapid
Rapid Fire.
Fire.
That is a tremendous session. Amazing. Well, Jake, thanks for entertaining us on Rapid Fire. That
This
was
has been
fun.
awesome.
We've learned a lot from you today. We covered a lot of ground, a lot of different topics. I think our audience will really appreciate this. I know I did, and I'm going to
Great.
think about my routines and nutritional habits and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But for the audience, do you have any final takeaways that you want to leave us with?
Yeah, I said it earlier. I want to say it again. It's all baby steps. It's whatever you want. Write it down. Write your biggest, wildest dreams down. Whatever, that's okay to write it down and put it somewhere. But then literally also write down what are the smallest possible steps I can take to get there. And what is the smallest possible step today? A great example is if you say you want to lose weight. Everyone wants to lose weight. If you want to lose weight, just go for a walk right now, right? That is the smallest thing you can do actionably right now is go for a walk. And if you can train the habit of going for a walk every day, you're going to lose pound after pound after pound every single week, right? Just doing that walk. And it's the small, tiny baby steps that lead to the giant, big results. So hopefully that helps a little bit today.
All right. Well, with that, let's wrap it up. And thanks so much for coming on the show. We really appreciate it. We're going to leave the links to your website and products and services in the description, and I hope people go and check that out. And good luck to you on your journey. I'm sure we'll stay in touch. So this was great. Appreciate
I really
it.
appreciate it. We'll talk soon.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If you enjoyed this content, please hit that subscribe button, like, share. Until next time.